And that's a call.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will call this meeting of the Board of Education to order. Mr. White, will you please call the roll?
Allison Green.
Here.
Vera.
Here.
Olheimer.
Here.
Howard.
Here.
Huey.
Here.
Wrigley.
Here.
Bill.
Here. All members are here. We will move on to the next item of business, which is the approval of minutes. Be looking for a motion to approve all of the meetings and meeting dates listed under section 2. Be looking for that motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Howard, second by Mr. Wrigley. Mr. White, I'm sorry, any members have any comments or questions or corrections? Mr. White, would you please call the roll?
Howard.
Aye.
Wrigley.
Aye.
Allison Green.
Aye.
Vera.
Aye.
Olheimer.
Aye.
Huey.
Aye.
Bill.
Aye. Motion carries. Minutes are approved. Moving on to communication, public comments, and participation. First item will be board applause. We'll start down with you, Mr. Barra.
This past Thursday, I had the pleasure of attending my semi-annual parent-teacher conferences. But while I was there, I walked around and watched people interact and watched the teachers and the administrators who all were there until 8 o'clock that night. And I look at it from a different standpoint now, being a board member, and what goes into making that happen. And it was impressive, the number of parents that show up and the interest that they have speaking with the teachers and the interest that the teachers show, being prepared and showing scores, test results, grades, all that. So just to say that I look at it with a different eye now, and it's pretty impressive. I know what goes into it, so.
Thank you, Mr. Barra. Mr. Alessandrini?
Congratulations go out to the cross-country team. Competed last weekend at regionals. The boys team finished 5th and advanced to sectionals as a team. Team members Colton Dunkelbarger was placed 9th. Other team members Chase Paul, Brody Blackwell, Seth Kassinger, Andrew Wolf, Cole Russell, Jared Presway. We had 2 girls that individually qualified, Paige Arsenault and Alex Besson. So congratulations to all of them as they compete next week at the sectionals.
Thank you very much, and good luck to cross country. Mr. Wrigley?
Nothing for me this month.
All right, moving right around. Ms. Hillheimer?
Congratulations to the girls volleyball team and what's the word I want to use? Conference champs. That's what I was looking. I wanted to say unbeaten.
Yeah, sophomore team was unbeaten.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, and
Right.
2 losses for the varsity team. So that's my board applause. But
All right, thank you,
Stole it from
Mrs.
you.
Hillheimer and Mr. Wrigley with the assist. Moving on to Mr. Huey.
Okay, the Automotive 2 students of Mr. Dice in our Automotive Tech area competed in a automotive technology competition recently and came home with 5 trophies. It was underscored that teams came from as far away as IVC, Bloomington, and Metamora. Justin Neal, Mason Carr, Hunter Duncan, and Cody Thompson all walked away with trophies that day. So another outstanding performance by our auto tech students.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Howard?
The volleyball girls have shown that they've been winners on the court this year, and we've already addressed that. But I'd like to point out that they're also winners off the court, where they raised $18,500 for the Susan G. Coleman group, and they did that in cooperation with East Peoria High School and Good Shepherd volleyball teams. But you stop and think about that a minute, that's a pile of change, and that represents a lot of dedicated hard work, and it speaks well for our students.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Howard. And for my board applause, I would like to congratulate the football team for making it to the 7A playoffs. Their game will be this coming Friday at Glenbard North at 7 p.m. So congratulations to them. I think I saw today was the 13th time they've made it to the playoffs, so.
16th.
16th, thank you, Mr. Howard.
Assist.
Okay, well, Mr. Howard with the assist. So congratulations to our football players. That's exciting, and good luck at this Friday on your round one of the playoffs. Next item of business, student council report. Amanda?
Okay, last time I talked to you, it was homecoming week, and homecoming went great. And it all went with Spirit Week, class games, powder puff, and the dance. And we ended up having over 1,000 people attend the dance, which is the highest it's been in a really long time. And then now it's second 9 weeks, and the committees were made last week, which are Winter Spirit Week, the Life Skills Party, and Camp Food Drive. And all of those start meeting tomorrow. And they have, for Camp Food Drive, we deliver the cans on November 22nd. And we're providing food for 100 families. And we're combining this year with the outreach committee, which means that some families will come from PCHS and others will come from the Christian Civic Outreach. Next week, we have Hopewell, which is a district convention, and all the exec board members will attend, and that is on Friday, November 4th. And that's all.
Thank you very much. Any board members have any questions? Thank you very much, Amanda. Next item of business will be public comments. Is there anybody that wishes to address the board about a non-agenda item? If you wouldn't mind, when you step up here, go ahead and say your name, and then also know we have 5 minutes allowed for comments. All right, sounds good. So we'll start with your name and then go right ahead.
Yeah, my name is Brad Kabishka, and I'm a resident here in Pekin. I've been a resident for quite some time. And I think it was around July or something, I was having my morning devotion, and I went in to listen to Channel 25, and they had an issue about the transgender in our school district, and I was very much interested in talking to the principal, and now I'm here talking with you about how that's being addressed. And she wouldn't meet with me, so that's why I'm standing here now. I was here last week or last month, and I missed it. I came in late. I didn't know exactly where you met, and so that's why I'm here. I'm curious as to how you're addressing that issue and where we're at. I read it in the article that was in the paper that we actually have more than one person who identifies themselves as, I'm not sure that title quite applies, but they're not sure about what they are. So if you could tell me anything, I'd appreciate it. And if not, I will look elsewhere.
Can I get your contact information, and what we can do is we can reach out to you after?
My phone number is 346-4500. My cell phone number is 241-3291. And I'm very much interested.
Okay.
Okay?
I will be sure to reach out to you after the meeting.
All right, thanks.
Thank you very much. Next item of business will be approval of claims.
Mr. President, I move for the payment in the monthly warrants in the amount of $1,861,894.57 per summary information found on page 71. Payment of board bills that begin on page 101, and manual checks begin on page 134 of the supporting material.
You heard the motion by Mr. Alessandrini. Do we have a second? Second by Mrs. Hoheimer. Board members with comments or questions? Mr. White, would you please call the roll?
Alessandrini.
Aye.
Hoheimer.
Aye.
Vera.
Aye.
Howard.
Aye.
Huey.
Aye.
Ridley.
Aye.
Hill.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item of business will be request to enter into closed session. The request for closed session regarding the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of a specific employee of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity, and litigation when an action affecting on or behalf of the public body has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when a body finds that action is probable or imminent, in which case the basis for the finding shall be recorded and entered into the minutes of the closed meeting. Do I have a motion to that effect? Motion by Mrs. Hoheimer.
Second.
Second by Mr. Barrow. Comments or questions? Mr. White, would you please call the roll?
Hoheimer.
Aye.
Vera.
Aye.
Alessandrini. Alessandrini.
Aye.
Howard.
Aye.
Huey.
Aye.
Wrigley.
Aye.
Hill.
Aye, motion carries. We're in closed session and we'll be back shortly. We're back from closed session at 7:18. Moving on with the consent agenda. Are there any members that wish to have an item pulled from the consent agenda? Hearing none, I'd be looking for approval of consent agenda items 5.2.1 and 5.2.2.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Howard,
Second.
second by Mr. Wrigley. Any comments or questions about the consent agenda? Would like to thank the Pekin Civic Chorus for the donation of $1,000 to the Pekin Community High School Choral Program and Cultural Studies Department. And also thank you to Stevens Auto Glass for donating $100 to the August 2016 PCHS School Drive. Any other comments or questions? Mr. White, would you call the roll?
Howard.
Aye.
Wrigley.
Aye.
Alessandrini.
Aye.
Vera.
Aye.
Oppenheimer.
Aye.
Huey.
Aye.
Hill.
Aye. Motion carries. Consent agenda is approved. On to 5.3, request permission to seek bids for various buildings and grounds projects. Mrs. Schaefer.
Last month, the Operations and Maintenance Committee met, and we discussed several projects that we would like to go out for bid for here in the next few months. We have already, the G Building HVAC project has already gone out for bid. The others would include the library, the third section of the roof, recrowning of the soccer field, and the girls' swim locker rooms. So tonight we would recommend board approval to seek bids for various buildings and grounds projects subject to provisions of the Prevailing Wage Act.
Motion for approval?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Alessandrini, second by Mr. Howard. Any members have any questions or comments? Mr. White, would you call the roll?
Alessandrini.
Aye.
Howard.
Aye.
Vera.
Aye.
Oppenheimer.
Aye.
Huey.
Aye.
Wrigley.
Aye.
Hill.
Aye. Motion carries. Hope you didn't blink because new business is over. Moving on to reports, Mr. Wrigley, resignations.
There were no resignations submitted since the board last met. Policy?
Policy committee, go right ahead.
Policy Committee did meet this evening, discussed several policies that will be brought for a first read, and reviewed a few as well.
Thank you very much. Mr. Alessandrini, Operations and Maintenance
We
Committee.
did not meet.
Alrighty. Dr. Owens, Labor Management Relations Committee.
We did meet last week or 2 weeks ago and talked a little bit about concerns that the staff has with the 7-period day, specifically around class size. We had a discussion around that. Some data was shared with the committee. And another concern was voiced around the linking of students, meaning students who have the same teacher the entire year instead of changing teachers that semester. So we had a conversation around the practices that do take place in the district in terms of linking primarily freshman students in English and math when we can, and the fact that there are concerns around if students should be linked more often than not at different grade levels, and just had a conversation around why that does and doesn't happen. And so that was a primary purpose of the LMRC that day.
All right, thank you very much. And moving on to Student Achievement Committee.
We met last week and we continued conversations around, remember that our purpose is hopefully by the end of the semester, very beginning of next semester, to have some concrete ideas around vision and mission of this district, moving into then how to better market Pekin High within ourselves as well as the community. So we continued conversations using what's called the SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So we got through strengths and we got mostly through weaknesses, and that was quite a bit of our conversation around those two areas. So we're going to actually come back to the other two areas of opportunities and threats for next month, as well as feeding into then the conversation that we need to have in November. So pretty good conversation. Conversation fed into honestly some philosophies around what we think that SWOT analysis should be doing for us in terms of the strengths of Pekin High, but then in the weaknesses are are the weaknesses of Pekin High or the weaknesses of high schools in general? Should the weaknesses be we want to reterm the phrase, you know, are they different, not necessarily weaknesses, but obstacles? And so it was a pretty good conversation, but one that we want to revisit because time got short and definitely need to come back around, so.
And Dr. Owens, I think it's worth noting that Mr. Fleming was in attendance.
That's true, thank you.
And he was quite excited about the process going forward and what we were trying to do.
Absolutely. I think there's feedback that some of you have gotten, as well as the administrative team from different members of the community that know that this is going on and are excited about that and getting behind a rebranding or remarketing of Pekin High, because obviously it feeds into what they're trying to do in the community and or have been lifelong residents of Pekin and are proud of the community that they're a part of. So we've definitely got some good feedback. So puts pressure on a little bit to do it well and have a good product at the end. So.
All right, thank you very much. Any other comments from committee members on SAC? Okay. Next will be FOIA requests.
We had one FOIA request, if you remember, it came in at the, I think I had it in my inbox at last board meeting, but it came from the Illinois Policy Institute, and their FOIA request was specific around some payroll summaries, as well as workman's compensation, settlement payments, but mostly around workers' comp, and then if we're self-insured and some other information. So Carla actually on our behalf worked hard with ourselves and our office as well as other offices to gain the information to be able to respond to that, but it's been responded to, so.
Thank you very much. And the last report is a new report, superintendent's report.
So I asked Eric if this could be a standing report, maybe not on every board agenda, but a chance for us to kind of keep you updated as things are coming your way, or just like you guys have board applause, a chance to be able to give you guys some updates of things that are going on. So just a couple things to keep you in the loop about. Melissa will be bringing forth potential new courses very soon to this, but one of the things that she's been actively pursuing is early college with ICC and the opportunities that could present to our students. It's been called Strong Start in other communities, but now they're labeling it early college, as well as the potential for internships outside of something. I mean, we used to have a co-op program here at Pekin High, but more specifically are there internship opportunities for students to be either wage or not working out in the community in a field that they potentially could be going into their senior year. So she's going to have some more information on that coming up. One of the things that came across my desk late last year was a request by the Ministerial Alliance of Pekin to see if I would be willing to meet with them around concerns that they had about better supporting, obviously, students and the community in general. So we actually met, Amy and I met with them here, served them lunch. That always helps, right? When we serve culinary arts and provide lunch. But we met and had an open conversation with some of the Ministerial Alliance who came about what we see in the community and what we see of concerns. And one of the things that we discovered that we all had a shared concern about is the level of students who are either demonstrating and or having conversations around self-harm in different levels, whether that means cutting or whether it means suicide attempts, and how that is impacting their congregations, how it's impacting our students. And so we, myself and another minister in town, are going to start making some contacts to different people in town about potentially getting on a steering committee to see if there's something as a community whole that we can do or participate in or come together to work towards giving some resources to all of us who see that as a struggle with some of our teens. So that was a good meeting. Hopefully something will come out of that. Another great opportunity that is exciting is Tremont has formed a collaboration with Pekin Hospital to offer a gross anatomy experience, which is outside. It would not be for credit, but it would be for students who are higher level biology students, potentially looking at going into pre-med, that could apply to be part of this class that would meet on a Wednesday night, Saturday morning, from January through April. Pekin Hospital would be the host and would be the partner in that, but they'd actually be working with medical doctors and cadavers and working their way through. I've been volunteered to help go pick up the cadavers. I said I'll get back to him, but as part of a collaboration, Tremont has offered to Morton, Pekin, and Deer Creek, Mackinac, if we would like to potentially send prospective students, that we're going to rank order some students who are interested in it. But that's a great opportunity from everybody I've talked to. They've done it in other communities, and the kids who potentially see themselves as pre-med, it's a great experience. So something that we're going to have some students apply for pretty quick, and then decide, the committee at Tremont will decide how many students are involved, but we'll have staff involved too in terms of helping host those nights. So that's exciting. And last but not least, just to kind of keep you updated, we did have our second meeting of the Booster Restructuring Committee last Wednesday. Met for the second time. It was a very positive meeting, spent a lot of time going over data around what boosters typically bring in, what they spend it on. Had a lot of data in terms of facts and figures so that people can start to wrap their minds around what that means in terms of supporting what potentially could be a one booster organization, and how much money that would take. And definitely the conversation already started to swirl into, okay, what kind of committees would we have? How would we raise the money? What potential is out there? Very positive for the most part. So we're going to meet again in November, on November 15th, I think is the date, if I remember right. And we will be focusing on getting bylaws from different organizations that have one booster, so that we can start to write potentially what the booster bylaws would be. Have been very clear with this committee that our idea of that committee is to form what we think that booster committee should look like and how it should function, and set the basis for that, so that they can then take it, grab hold of it, and become that booster committee, and make some of those decisions that they're antsy about making as that booster committee, not the administration. Obviously we have a interest in seeing it formed, but once it's formed, the decisions that they need to grab hold of and make themselves. So it was a great meeting. I think people left pretty positive, got some good feedback afterwards, and so excited to meet in November and keep moving on, so that hopefully we can come back to you with some pretty solid information in terms of what that's going to look like and how they're going to operate. So it's exciting.
And just to piggyback onto that, with that meeting, it was, I wasn't able to attend the first meeting, but in reading through the notes and talking with how that meeting went, it was very much, the first meeting was very much learning how individual sports were going to be impacted, versus this meeting started to trend towards, what events can we host that can impact all the booster clubs, golf tournaments, and really thinking outside the box on potential fundraising opportunities, some of which may have to come back to us to adjust or look at some policies that we have in place right now. But it was definitely a positive conversation, less about how is my sport or my students going to be affected, but more so how can we impact this booster club across all the sports. So it was a very positive conversation.
All I have.
All right. We'll move on to future agenda items. Are there any agenda items that a board member wishes to see on a future agenda? Hearing none, we'll move into announcements. Just a reminder, the 2016 annual joint III conference is November 18th through the 20th. We'll be leaving for Chicago Friday morning, the 18th. You all will receive a packet with your information. The only change will be you're not going to be receiving individual confirmations for hotel accommodations as in the past, but they will be included in your packet. Looking ahead, we've got a Illinois Valley Division Winter Governing Meeting, oh boy, I'm tongue-tied, on December 8th at Metamora Fields Golf Club. More information will follow on that. And you also, in front of you, had season ticket applications. So if you'd like season tickets or parking passes for basketball, please make sure you fill those out and return them to Mr. White. And lastly, our next regular scheduled meeting is November 28th here in the boardroom at 6:30. I know of no further business to come before the board, so we stand adjourned.